Okay, beloveds, instinct or intellect. Now we're going to reading 2, right? That's where we're at right now. But before we do that, for your journal, you have to report the information of the text in reading 1, and that is this one. Yeah, if you look at the first text on page 92, 93, that's not the text, that's for the vocabulary. This is the text that you need to report. Tapi katanya ringkas. No, you're not just going to ringkas. If I'm asking you ringkas, just to summarize, then you're not reporting. You're just making a shorter vision of this. Excuse me. Okay, let me check something. Yeah, so basically, you're going to do this one. And so the way you summarize it is in the way that you are doing report it. So you report it like as if you were a reporter. Yeah, so you're not just going to ringkas, but you're going to report the information as if you are a journalist or a reporter. And then you're going to make a shorter version. So you're reporting this information, but in a shorter form. So you're not going to write every detail, but the main points of it. So you write it as if you're writing for an article or a newspaper. Okay. Any questions about this? So that is clear. Okay, then we're gonna go to reading 2. Okay, please leave your cameras on, people, because I will change you to absent, yeah, if you don't. Come on. Okay, how smart are animals? That's where we're at. So yeah, do active reading. If there are words that you don't know or things you don't know, you can actively look them up. Yeah, here we're looking at sensory, we're looking at confronting, we're looking at viable, we're looking at words like, what have we got here? Discern. That comes from the word discernment. And we've got the word trait. So those are the vocabulary words. Now, I'm gonna go over the comprehension. I wanna ask someone to annotate for me.
Me.
Okay, cool, Ferro. Okay, now we're gonna start with the first one. I'm gonna ask Kevin, what's number 1?
Annotate, Miss.
What is the first one? It is difficult to define animal intelligence because, remember, you have to cross out the answer that is wrong, not that is correct.
Okay.
Which one is wrong? Kevin.
A and C, I guess.
Only one answer. There's only one that is wrong. What do you think?
C.
Yeah. Okay, Ferro will do the annotating, yeah? Ferro, thank you. Okay, so the correct answer here is A, which means it's incorrect. So if we're saying it is difficult to define animal intelligence because Intelligence has different meanings, and what is intelligent for one species may not be for another. So cross out the answer that is incorrect. That is A. Not B, not C, yeah? A. Okay, number 2, Evelyn.
Yes, Miss.
Yeah, what is the answer?
A. An animal's ability to imitate human behavior may have no value.
Guys, you need to look for the wrong answer, not the correct answer. Read the instructions correctly. Cross out the answer that is incorrect, not that is correct. So it's not A, Evelyn. Yeah. When you guys did your unit test, I saw the same thing. You guys often misread the instructions and therefore make mistakes, because for a unit test, even if you answer correct but you don't do it in the right way, it's counted wrong, because the reading of instructions is reading comprehension. Okay, Evelyn, what's the answer? It's not A. What's the wrong? What is incorrect?
B, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
My answer is C. The incorrect answer is animals are given tasks based on human behavior. Yeah, Ferrell, you annotate, yeah, Ferrell? Okay, so we're looking not for the correct answer, yeah? We're looking for incorrect. What is incorrect? Yeah.
Is nomor 2 tadi C ya?
Yes, C. Betul. Okay, Nicholas, number 3. Nicholas, Galang, please turn on your cameras.
Oh, wait.
Aldi, Tristan, Anya.
My answer is
Rayhan, Abdi, Dandi, Rama, come on. Your
B.
cameras. Yes? Can you read the sentence first?
The concept of and terms used to calculate animal intelligence are often borrowed from human psychology.
Yeah, B. Correct. Number 4, Nicole.
Yes, Miss. If humans do not come out on top in intelligence tests compared to animals, then researchers assume that is it B, Miss?
No, it's A. It is due to comparable cognition in different species, because we're looking for the wrong answer, right? We're looking for the answer that is incorrect. Means B and C are correct, actually. So it's A. Yeah. Okay, now we go to 5. Mulan?
Yes, Miss. A new
What is
way.
5?
Okay, a new way of assessing animal intelligence. The bottom-up method involves finding a cognitive trait and investigating how the neural system guide the trait. An advantage of this method is that B, the research can find traits they don't have know what except in animals.
No, it's not B. The answer is A. This is all based on your text law. You can just go to the text to find it. The answers are literally there. You have to look for what is incorrect, right? So what is not mentioned in the text. So if you go to the text, you will find B, you will find C, but you will not find A. Yeah, the answer is A. Okay, Michelle, Anastasia, number 6.
I answer C.
Yep, that's correct. Correct. Very good. Okay, we go to the next page. Recognizing the role of quoted speech in reading. Now, quoted speech in reading means it has, it functions as evidence in your reading. As I said just now, your evidence can be quotation, your evidence can be statistics, your evidence can be an example, all of that can be an evidence, okay? So in this case, we're looking at quotation. So if there's a quote, it is always linked to a point that has been stated previously, yeah? Okay, now here we have 4 quotes that are connected to something that has been stated before it, yeah? So Gita Simonson often makes statements about animal intelligence and then supports it with an appropriate quotation. Now I want you to look at the quotations in the paragraphs and then look at the paragraphs that come before it and underline the author's words that the quotation supports. So what statement that is mentioned is correlated to the quotation. So for instance, number 1, paragraph 6, this quote is correlated to a statement which was stated before. So that is definitely not paragraph 6. Which is it? I want to ask Jovita.
Yes, miss.
Okay, I want to ask Jovita.
Hello?
Which one is it?
Oh, wait.
Number 1's quotation, what does that refer to?
If you turn it. Wait, what? Honestly, I don't really understand this part, miss. I'm so sorry.
Baca lagi instruksinya. Ini ada quotation. Quotation ini ada kaitan dengan sesuatu yang disebut sebelumnya. Kaitannya di mana? Kamu harus cari di teks. Kaitannya di mana? Something is told, something is explained, and then pasti ada example, right? Ada evidence. Evidence ini bisa jadi quote, bisa jadi contoh, bisa jadi hal lain. Nah, ini evidence. Evidence-nya dari mana? You have to look for the correlation between the quotation and the material that has been stated before it. Makanya Miss Sylvie sudah bilang, harus nonton videonya dan melakukan dulu di rumah. Gak bisa dibiarkan terus pas Zoom baru menjawab. If you do that, you will not be able to answer. That will be too hard to answer. Okay. Seraphim, number 1.
Yes, Miss.
What is it related to?
Quotation, ya, Miss, ya. Quotation, if you turn it around and visualize a flock of screaming chimpanzees. Quotation.
Yeah. So what paragraph is that?
Oh, paragraph. Paragraph 5.
If you look at paragraph 6, what is the paragraph 6 is the quotation, right? If you turn it around and visualize a flock of screaming chimpanzees, yada, 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 that's paragraph 6. Nah, kamu harus lihat ke sebelumnya. Paragraf 5 apa? Itu juga quotation. Lihat sebelumnya lagi. Paragraf 4. Disitulah poinnya yang disampaikan. Kamu sampaikan poin, menjelaskan, kasih contoh, kasih bukti. So it's paragraph 4. The problem is that we often look for human traits when we study animal behavior. But what may be clever for us needn't be a viable attribute in other members of the animal kingdom. That's the point. Now you go to paragraph 5. That's a quotation. Itu apa? Bukti. Next, paragraph 6, quotation, bukti. So, quotation dari paragraf 6 terkait dari poin yang diberikan di paragraf 4. Okay? Now we go to number 2. Michaela, you answer number 2. So we're looking at paragraph 18. Buka bukumu. Carilah paragraf 18. Itu dikaitkan dengan apa? Ke paragraf mana, Michaela?
16.
Can you read that one?
The British scientists point out that the bees beat the babies in a learning task because the lab tested characteristics that bees have been perfecting during eons of evolutionary development.
Yeah, continue one more. In comparisons of intelligence among species, it's hard to avoid dealing trump cards to one species or another. So in this case, very well done, Michaela. Good job. It is paragraph 16 and 17, both. 16 and 17 is where this writer makes a point and then gives the evidence in paragraph 18 by giving a quote. So quotations are some kind of evidence, yeah? Can also be an example, can also be evidence. Okay, good job. Now we go to paragraph 21. So look at the text, go to paragraph 21. The advantage of bottom-up methods is that we can find traits that we didn't know existed in animals, says Brastad. So that's the quotation, which is connected to okay, Virgin, what is it connected to? What paragraph?
20.
Yeah, very good. 20. It's connected to 20 with more emphasis on a bottom-up method. They would study the species, neutral networks in attempts to perceive what uses these networks can have. And then it gives a quote. Very good. Awesome means. Anya, you did the last one. Paragraph 25.
Paragraph 25 is connected, I think, paragraph 24 and 23, I think.
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
Because 24 is also evidence. If you see the words or phrase, for instance, as an example, that is in transition words that an example is coming up. So for instance means that that is an example. Ya, jadi harus melihat kata kunci. For instance, as an example, that shows that there's an example. Example is evidence. So 25's quote, the quote in paragraph 25 refers to the point which was made or the statement given in paragraph 23. So in 23, the author gives the statement. In 24, the author gives an example. In 25, the author gives a quote. Very good, thank you. So, but then your question could be, how come, Ms. Sylvie, isn't it that should go into one paragraph? Like in one paragraph, you have the point that is being made, the statement, and then you've got like the explanation, that's the P, right? The explanation, then you got an example, right? The evidence, either the example or the quotation or the statistic in one, correct? If it's an essay. In an essay, it comes into one body paragraph. But this is an article. Yeah, this is an article. How do you know? Because it has smaller paragraphs and it has subheadings. Subheadings. You see that? In an article, you could put the point made in one paragraph, and then an example in one paragraph, and then a quotation in one paragraph, you could do that, but not in an essay, okay? So what you're learning right now is basically to see how it is connected. So you need to remember your PPP. There's always a point or a statement and an explanation, and then there's always evidence, whether that is an example or an example and a quotation or any other information, there's always evidence, okay? And the evidence comes after the point is made. And then you need to know the correlation. So that's what you're learning just now. You're learning to see how the evidence is connected to the previous point made. Now, what is also important, if you watch the videos, then you know that I constantly repeat the reading strategies. The first reading strategy is previewing, where you predict the type of the text, the genre, and then the purpose and structure, which is very important, because if you would have done that beforehand, you would know that this is an article. And then you would know that an article is different from an essay. So you would know that it not necessarily has to be in one paragraph. That can be separated, yeah? So remember also to use the strategies: preview first, meaning look at the title, the headings, and the visuals to know what genre, what type, and purpose it is, and structure. Then you skim the text, remember, read the introduction, every topic, sentence, and concluding paragraph to get the main idea. Then you analyze the question, go back to the text to critically read the body paragraphs and annotating it and making margin notes. Then you go back to the question to answer. You scan the text to find the answer. Okay, please remember that, because these are very important points. So what we just did was recognizing how quotations are correlated to a point that is made before it is stated. And it works or functions as evidence, which gives strength to what someone is saying. Okay, here you had to combine all the information. Here you see all the information that we can find from reading 1 and reading 2, where they both talk about intelligence for animals. Now you had to make this graphic organizer, also called taxonomy, where you place all that information in the correct box. This is important. Why? Here you're analyzing and evaluating. You're recognizing the different components in both texts, and then you're putting them into the correct order, in the connecting them. So you're making correlations. And then after that, you're going to use this information in order to create something with it. Is that important? Yes, it is. Because this is what initiates critical thinking and formalized thinking, formalized speaking, and formalized writing. This helps you to become more analytical, to formalize your way of thinking. Now, if you're looking about what is intelligence, reading 1, I will tell you, so pay notice, check your answers. For reading 1, to answer the question, what is intelligence? It said, using extreme perception to invent jobs. Means recognizing something and then deciding to act. But in reading 2, they say that intelligence is diverse meanings to different species, that it depends on different species. And then for problems with assessing animal intelligence, in reading 1, it says using human standards. So they're using human standards. So in the case with clever Hans, who can count, so they would then say he's smart, but he's actually not really counting. If he's not really counting, then we would say he's dumb, but if he can count, he's smart. So using human standards. And then in reading 2, number 1 is looking for human traits and qualities. Number 2 is brain weight of mammals. And then number 3, for humans, intelligence is linked to language. And then other abilities versus intelligence for forensic dogs. Oh, wait, for humans, intelligence is linked to language, but we cannot understand animal language, so that's the problem. Other abilities versus intelligence, in reading 1, it states forensic dogs have extreme perception And clever Hans learned reflexes. If it comes to bees, bees have a very strong instinct. Now, this is basically the information that we got from here. Ya, semua diambil dari sini. Dan ini diambil dari teks 1 dan teks 2. Okay? Okay, so what are you going to do with this information? Now you have already placed information of text 1 and text 2 in a graphic organizer, linking it. So now you've already placed it so it's linked. Both is about the same subtopic. Now you're going to synthesize, which means using the multiple sources in order to create something new. Now, you'd have to fill out this interview in order to, and using the information from the box. Yeah. So let's try it out. Rayhan, could you start reading the first paragraph, the reporter. Today?
Okay. Today, we are lucky to have with us 2 animal experts, Temple Grandin and Gitta Simonsen. Simonsen?
Simonsen.
How do you pronounce the name?
Simonsen, probably.
Simonsen. They are both especially interested in the question of animal intelligence. Ms. Grandin, how would you define animal intelligence?
Yeah. Could you continue? Let me start.
Yeah. Let me start by saying that many people confuse extreme perception with intelligence. Many animals have extreme perception, at least compared to humans. But that alone...
what do you think comes in there? But that alone...
Where do I...
Yeah. From here, right?
Oh, okay.
Because we were talking about its intelligence, right? It follows the same order. So, but that alone, what would that be?
Alone,
what do you think?
Diverse meanings for different species.
That's good. They're talking here about how intelligent they are. They have extreme perception, at least compared to humans, but that alone probably doesn't make them intelligent, right? If you have to look at the context of the text. So using only extreme perception, that would not mean that they're suddenly intelligent.
Oh, okay. So using extreme perception to invent jobs, like recognizing something and then deciding to act, is that?
Yeah, but that is related to intelligence, right?
Oh, but that alone.
So you have to adjust it a little bit.
No.
You can just put in anything. You can put in anything anything, as long as it just works, as long as it in the context works. So that is using extreme perception to invent jobs is about what intelligence is, right? So you can just basically put in anything, as long as it goes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for instance, you could put in many animals have extreme perception, at least compared to humans. But yeah, having only extreme perception doesn't make them intelligent, does it now? Itu bisa juga. So it's free. Can you do the second line? I think
seizure alert dogs are a good example of animal intelligence because, do I say it in my own words?
Yeah.
Because to know something like that requires brain, common sense. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. As long as it's in the format of the text, it's correct. And it has to relate to the seizure alert dogs. I think seizure alert dogs are a good example of animal intelligence because what? They can pick up the signs of someone who is sick before they have a seizure. So they have a perception. They can know when someone is going to have a seizure before they have a seizure. So how you answer it in what wording is fine as long as it's connected to the information which you also get from the text. So it does have to have a correlation with the information from the text. Does that make sense? Yeah, this might...
So I'll try to understand.
Yeah, so maybe at first it's not as easy, but it's not as hard either. So you're basically just using the information from the text, but you write it in your own words. So you're basically kind of paraphrasing it. So you can take it from the step 1, organizing the information you see there, or just from the text. So you're still talking about the same thing. You're not going off topic, but you're writing it in your own words to make it work. It's an imaginary interview, right? So however you say it, it's fine, as long as it's still within the scope of the topic. And we know that seizure alert dogs recognize that someone is going to have a seizure before they have it, right? Yeah. Awesome beings. Good. Rayhan, thank you. I'm going to ask Virgin. This is not something. Angelica.
Yeah, me.
This is not something. Continue.
You must know their ability with this is what show intelligence.
This is not something they need to do or have been taught to do, but something that I didn't hear you.
You must know their. You must know their ability with this is what show intelligence.
The seizure alert dogs do that not because they have to do it. Yeah, so this is not something they need to do or have been taught to do, but this is something that they choose to do. Yeah, what you're putting in the line has to make sense in the context of the sentence. Ya, ini kan semuanya berdasarkan teks ya guys. Ini semua bisa dibaca di teks. Semua ada di bacaan pertama dan kedua. So this is not something that they need to do or that they have been taught to do, but this is something that these dogs choose to do. They want to do that. That's what's actually cool. And that is what shows the intelligence, not because they're taught and that they have to, but because they want to do it. That's what shows their intelligence. That's so cool about it. That is in the first text in paragraph 2. You can see that. Okay, we continue. I definitely agree that seizure alert dogs are showing intelligence, but in my opinion, what can be considered intelligence in animals? Yada, 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 yada. Okay, let me give you an example. Mana dia? Okay, in my opinion, intelligence in animals differs from species to species. Ini ya, bisa dijawab ya. Ingat guys, you can put in your own wording, tapi kamu nggak bisa membuat jawaban sendiri. Jawaban yang kamu masukkan harus tetap berdasarkan teks. Does that make sense? Jadi nggak bisa membuat sendiri-sendiri. Ini yang harus dimasukkan ke sini, itu berdasarkan teks. Dan berdasarkan ini, kan udah kita bahas, ini kita sudah ringkas 1 dan 2. Jadi sebenarnya ini udah dikelompokin untuk kamu supaya lebih gampang menjawab ini. Jadi kalau kamu dapat pertanyaan seperti ini tetap berdasarkan bacaan. Ya. See? Complete the interview using information from step 1 and from the readings. Jadi memang berdasarkan bacaan. Tapi kata yang kamu menggunakan itu terserah asal kontennya berdasarkan bacaan. Oke? Seperti itu. How can animal intelligence be assessed? Yeah, one problem that we have in assessing animal intelligence is that we too often use human standards. That's one of the problems, right? Nah, itu kembali lagi ke sini. Problems with assessing animal intelligence. Yang tadi kita membahas what is intelligence. Sekarang kita lanjut ke problems with assessing intelligence. You see that? So sebenarnya baca dulu, terus ringkas di sini. Nah, terus interviewnya berdasarkan ringkasan ini. Dia juga ikutin urutan. Okay. One problem that we have in assessing animal intelligence is that we too often use human standards. Yes, I agree. For example, Ayo, contoh apa yang diambil di text? Those animals that are able to imitate human behavior and show human-like traits are thought to be intelligent. That's in the text. The example, ada. In the case of the counting horse, clever Hans, many people judged him to be intelligent when they thought he was able to correctly solve mathematical problems. However, as soon as they realized that he was getting unconscious cues from the audience, then he was considered a dumb animal. I don't agree with them. I think clever Hans was showing intelligence because he was able to invent a job for himself. That's a good point. However, let me say one more thing about the problems with assessing animal intelligence. Ada satu lagi, guys. Because for human intelligence is so linked to language, the fact that we do not understand animal language makes it very hard to accurately assess their intelligence. Nah, ini yang tadi dibahas di sini. Ya, the problems. Nah, ini tadi dibahas 1, 2, 3. Habis ini kita ke sini. So it's all correlated as you can see. Okay. Are all of these apparently amazing things that animals are capable of doing really a sign of intelligence, or are there other explanations for their actions? Sometimes there is. For example, forensic dogs that work at airports looking for explosives or illegal drugs aren't really showing intelligence. They are just using extreme perception to signal items they have been trained to point out. They don't have any idea that these things are bad or dangerous, just that they are rewarded to find them. Yeah, similarly, a recent test of intelligence across species, including humans, found bees to be smarter than all other species, including humans. However, the explanation might not be intelligence, but rather it was their instinct, tadi kita udah bahas, that allowed them to outscore everyone on the test. Thank you both very much. I'm afraid we have run out of time. I know I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers have too. Thanks again. Nah, apa yang kita belajar dari hal ini? Oke, kita ulang. Ini sudah ringkasan materi from text 1 and text 2. Yeah, actually they could just give you this empty grid. Figure it out, but they didn't. They made it easier for you to put in the information in the boxes. Then they asked you to put this information in the correct place here. This is called a graphic organizer or taxonomy in university, which means that you place information in the right place and see the connection, you see the correlation. When it was about intelligence, this is what reading 1 says, this is what reading 2 says. If it's about the problem for assessing it, this is what text 1 says, text 2. If it's about other ability, this is what text 1 says, this is what text 2 says. So it's already categorized and connected. And then using this information, you were supposed to fill out the imaginary interview based on the information from the graphic organizer and the text. So you cannot make it up. You have to use the correct information from the text, but you can put it in your own wording. Yes. And that is even better if you put it in your own wording, because then you paraphrase. Kalau seperti ini kan kayak reporting. For your journal, you also have to report, right? So you have to use the information of text 1. You cannot make it up. You have to put it in different words. You have to report it. Okay? Any questions, beloveds? That was confusing, Miss Sylvie. Yeah, it was not easy. But this is important because this is something you will get in your tests also. So what did we learn? Correlate information. PPL. Give the point, explain the point, give an example. The example can be the evidence, point, explanation, evidence. The evidence can be an example, can be a quotation, can be a statistic, So it can be scientific evidence. It can be anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence is based on a personal experience. Okay? Now, so first the point is made and explained, then the evidence. So you have to be able to correlate the evidence with the point that it supports. Okay? And then you learned to reuse information from a text, creating something new with it, which is still based on the text, and placing it with your own wording in a new format. Sangat penting. So you need to use your own wording. That's paraphrasing, using the information from text 1 and 2 in order to create an interview. Yeah, so you can say it with your own words, but it has to be based on the text. Apa hasilnya? It shows that you can analyze a text. Ini namanya analisa. Analyzing and evaluating and creating. That is what it is. You analyze the text first to correlate information, then you evaluate it to come to a conclusion, to use the components, and then you created an imaginary interview using that information. And all based on a text. Yeah? Okay, we will be practicing this more and more, and you will be getting better at it. It's not as easy because it's a higher order thinking skills on an ESL level. That is not that easy, but it is good to trigger your analytical thinking, okay? Yeah. Thank you very much for your hard work today. Are there any questions? No? You're amazing people, yeah? For those who answered today, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for trying. Even if it's wrong, that is not a problem. You're here to learn, and I'm proud of you for speaking up. That's really cool. Okay, remember to do post-test 1 today, okay? It's only a few questions. It's not much. I will open the test now, okay? Bye-bye. God bless you.